Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. It is Monday night all over again. My name is Donna Gray Banks, and I am your host. Our special guest tonight is Pamela James Coleman, who is the author of Is This Me? Am I Her? The Path I Walked, Finding Myself, I Was Not Her, and Noxious, right?
Noxious.
Noxious. Was it love or poison? Pamela, welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. Thank you for being here. Met Pamela at the Fresh Book Festival. Was it this year? Oh my
Yes.
God, it just seemed like it was so long ago. This year. And thank you for being there. I hope you will come back in 2024.
I
Zoom
already
in on.
booked my hotel.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is brought to you by Eileen's Diamonds LLC, Lee's Press and Publishing Company, my new publisher. Thank you very much. Milton McCulloch, author of Love and Emancipation, a Dante production, who will feature dueling saxophones on July 16th at Cinematique on Beach Street. And the dates for the Fresh Book Festival are February 22, 23, 24, in the year of 2024. Please always go to the website, www.freshbookfestivals.net, to get updates on what we're going to do next. If you have any questions for Pamela, please put them in the chat room. And this conversation is being recorded. Thank you, Pamela, for being here. When we talked about you being a publisher, and I'll tell you where I got confused. You had a publishing experience that didn't go so well. I need you to just give us a little background on that, because there are a lot of new authors out here who really don't know how to look for those little nuances that let you know that things are going awry, right? So that's my first question to you. Tell us about your publishing experience. Thank you, everybody.
For me, this whole process was, it happened accidentally. I was journaling about my relationship with my mother, which wasn't a good one. And a friend of mine read the first 35 pages of the journal, and she said I needed to turn it into a book. We have a couple of people here that used this publishing company before. So me not knowing anything, I sent it off. They sent it back. They said, finish it and we will publish it. Okay. So I finished it, sent it back. They sent it back to me, said, these are the corrections I need done. And once you do those corrections, we'll go from there. I did the corrections. I sent it back. I called. I emailed. Nothing. The publishing company went completely ghost on me. So
had money transacted at this point?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, if it had, you probably would have saw me on the news. But so then I was like, okay, let me keep going, because I can't let this stop me. I've gotten this far. I belong to a group on Facebook called She Leads. So it's S.H.E Leads. The lady that runs or leads that is an author, and I was just venting to her. So I told her, I said, you won't believe what happened. Da, 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 da. And she responded back and says, hey, send me your transcript or your manuscript and let me see what's going on. I sent it to the address that she provided. And she sent it back to me and said, hey, we can do this. It was the wrong person. It was She Publishing.
Oh my.
S.H.E. I had went to the wrong person, venting about my whole thing that had happened. Wasn't even talking to the lady that I knew. That's how I became a person with she.
Yeah.
Just because I went to the wrong person. Wrong person.
Wow.
I know who drove me in that direction, but it was still just like, wasn't even talking to the right person.
Did that person ever come out and tell you that that was a mistake? Okay.
Not really a mistake.
Okay.
When I realized that it was the information that I was receiving was not from the person I thought it was, I still kept going with it, but I told her the story. I never changed or anything, because the lady I was talking to was not a publishing company. She was just an author. And I
And
was,
had a following on Facebook.
Mhm.
Are you still with the same publishing company?
Yep, but not going nowhere.
Okay. Not going nowhere.
Not going
So
nowhere.
I'm going to switch up the questions and I'm going to ask you, how do you write? Do you write in scenes? Do you write in chapters? Do you write in characters? How do you write?
I write as it hits me.
Okay.
I woke up, I think about 3 weeks ago, in mid nightmare. And it's in here.
Mm.
And there's a dear friend on here that knows that my writing leans towards killing people.
Okay.
I will kill somebody in a minute.
Okay.
I will kill somebody in a minute. And it's because for many years I watched Snap. And when my husband was alive, he would say, I'm very concerned about this. He said, there are times when you're watching these episodes that I fear for my life. Because it's a Sunday marathon. So I sit there and I watch it till I fall asleep. So when I get an idea, I probably will take something that I've seen from Snap. Like yesterday, it was a whole marathon of kidnapped kids and everything. And it just goes from there. I just put them together.
And so what prompted you to write your first book?
It was a journal.
Okay.
It was a journal because
But did you know what it was going to be, what the content was going to be? Okay, tell us about that.
None of my books have, except for as I got to Noxious.
Right.
Noxious was still part of a real life situation, but I took it and just kind of got really something with it. But the first two books are all what actually happened. They're all, it was supposed to be a healing process because as working in the school system, I don't have the money to go see a psychiatrist 2 times a week as my doctor wanted me to do to get through all the stuff that I'd gone through. And I start writing. And then that's when it turned into, is this me? Am I her? Because I tried my best once I left my mom's house not to be like her. And I could tell that I had tendencies that she would have, that I had to work on to not suppress, but just say, hey, you're starting to act like your mom, you need to stop.
And those were the first two books
Based
on the traumatic life experiences, right?
Because in one of the questions I think we touched on here, nobody knew it, but from middle school until college, I was a functioning alcoholic. I used to drink every day before I went to school. And nobody knew it.
So alcohol was readily available in the house?
Because my mom was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, when everything would go wrong or something didn't go her way, she reached for it and she mixed it with her pills. And then from there, I became her target because of my relationship with my dad.
And was your dad in the household or not in the house? He was.
Yep. When I was growing up, I asked him so many times to leave the house. But as I wrote the book and finished the book, I found out the reason he didn't leave was because I was there.
And was he abused?
By my mom?
Mentally,
yes.
or physically,
yes.
right.
I vividly remember it just happened. My mom was 300 pounds and my dad was probably 110 soaking wet. And she picked him up and threw him through our front door and he rolled out into the street.
God, I don't know what to say about that. How old were you?
When I started writing a book, I think my earliest going through the book was I was 5. I could go back as far as the book started when I was 5 until the day I moved out the house after my husband died.
And so everybody was living in the place together? Like your husband, you?
Okay. No. It was just my when I
I
was
love.
growing up, my dad would not allow me back in the house because of the way my mom was. She didn't want me when I was born because she said I was white. And she told my dad to tell the nurse that I didn't belong to her. And if I didn't have like the little black Afro puff, he said he didn't know how he was going to get me home. So my grandmothers had me. So if you guys ever hear me talk about my grandmother, which she's in the second book, a lot in the second book, she died last October, October 24th, when I came back from the Texas Expo. She was 108. And I always said we always looked out for each other, and she did not die until I came back from Texas. And we always said, "You okay?" And when I got there, I said, "You can go home now," because she said she was getting tired. And I was holding her hand. I told her she could go home, and she took a deep breath and she died.
So what was the aha moment that said I'm an alcoholic? Was there an aha moment?
When I woke up in my dorm and didn't know how I got there, because I knew I went to a party. But I didn't know how I got back to the dorm, and I had to go to the infirmary to make sure I wasn't raped.
Did you go through the AA and whatever process? Okay.
I did it.
On your own?
Yep. Because I didn't want anybody to know that I was struggling with, I don't even know if I never felt like I was struggling. I just felt like it was a coping mechanism, and I just used it and kept going.
But you were out of the house at this point, right? You were living in a dorm and
I was
basically on your own. And is your mother still alive? May I ask?
No. I always said that I always felt that she was selfish, a selfish person, and everybody's like, no, this can't be. She died on my 50th birthday. So every time my birthday comes around, the anniversary of her death.
That's not
I
funny,
took her to the hospital. No, you're fine. When I took her to the hospital in August,
Damn.
They gave her 2 weeks to live in August, the 1st of August. So she was supposed to, because she was there. They had on morphine. They took off all her meds and everything. She went from August the 3rd to September the 27th. I went to see her on the 26th and to see how she was doing. And she told me happy birthday. And I was like, well, my birthday is tomorrow. She bust out laughing and she said, yeah, right. And they called me 6 o'clock the next morning. She was gone.
How is it that you forgive and love someone who has traumatized you? Well, where does that strength come from, family?
I haven't forgiven her.
Okay.
Nope.
So
and they asked me, they said, why haven't you worked through that? Because she's on, I wouldn't say she's a trigger, but I do thank her for helping me to help others. So I'm able to identify that I went through mental abuse so I can help others. But there's 50 years, 45 solid years that I can remember that I still gotta work through. I might be 95 before I get there.
I think the guy on the podcast I listened to today said, you don't have to, because there's a polarized issue. There's a left and a right, right? There's a left and a right. There's right and wrong. And they both can live in the same space, right? So you can try to forget, but you really don't have to forgive. But you can live in the same space with that. Now, do I completely agree with that? I'm not sure, because I'm always on the fence about everything. So maybe my middle name should be Humpty Dumpty, because I'm always on the fence. But when you were raising your children, did you ever have to check yourself because you saw yourself saying something or doing something that your mother might have done?
It was more towards my husband.
Okay.
Than
because that's the interaction you always saw. Yes.
Well, I always wanted something, I guess, and it sounds really, it goes back to like with my mom. I always wanted a Mother's Day with my mom. So when Mother's Day come, it's not a day for me, because I wanted and I told Mark about this, but I wanted to go out with my mom. I wanted to post pictures with my mom. I wanted pictures with my mom on Mother's Day. She didn't want no parts of that.
You an only child?
No, I have a brother.
Okay, go ahead.
11 years older, but you couldn't tell by our interaction. Then when I got married, my husband told me that I was not his mother, so he didn't have to do that. So if the kids didn't make something at school, I didn't receive anything or acknowledge it. So Mother's Day was one of those days I just let come and go. But with that is just he was a car salesman, so he was gone from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. So pretty much I was a single parent, and the small things that I would ask for help for, he was too busy to do. And that's when I saw my mom come up. It was just like, and then that's what I had to work on.
Kind of work down, right?
Yeah, I had to go, okay, this is what she would do. This is not what you need to do. And I had to find different avenues. I still, to this very day, have one trigger, and my kids know it. If you raise your voice at me when you're talking to me, if you elevate the voice, I go back to that 5-year-old kid, and I cannot get rid of that trigger. I've been working on it, but it's just something about if we're having a conversation and you just go up, I go down, and whatever you say is right. It could be wrong. You could be wanting to rob a bank. I'm still going to agree with you.
That's too funny, because the guy I was having a conversation with today put bass in his voice, and I said, what? No. I know that's not bass in your voice, because we're about to end this conversation. And, I don't know where that comes from. So you're right.
Mm-hmm. But it's me hearing, I could hear them arguing through the wall when I was little. Right. And every time I'd hear it elevate, or she would elevate, then I knew what was coming next.
Right.
Well, if you come in and Al Green was playing at max, you knew that there was either an argument coming or one had just happened.
You mean the Grits? I got old
enough to leave,
Al Green was the Grits guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yep. She had like 2 or 3 key songs that she would play, and you knew
it was
something was happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so did your husband, and none of these are questions that we have here, so we're way off.
Well, we winging it.
So did your husband know about the trauma?
He found out
after you were married, or?
Mm-hmm. He found out one day when he raised his voice at one of the kids, and I forgot who I was. And I became the mama bear and snapped and lost character. And that's when I realized I was exactly like my mother at that point, because I was going for him. Because he raised his voice at my child.
Is that his child or your child? Mm-hmm. It was his?
Might as well have been mine. I was a single parent.
Right. Well, yeah. Okay. Because he wasn't there a lot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, what happened?
That's when I was like, look, you need to realize that I have this trigger.
Okay.
And he didn't raise his voice anymore. I think he was scared too.
Because somebody who sits and watch Snap on, I probably would be scared too, right? Yeah, well, but so you didn't have those conversations before you got married about what your triggers were.
So in writing book 2,
okay,
I learned a lot about myself after writing the books. I think I did not marry for love. I think I married to get out of the house. If that made.
We lost you for a minute, Pamela. Your internet's gone. Come back. Is everybody frozen? Hello?
She's back.
Okay. I'm back. So listen, we're having a storm here. And so, yeah, that's crazy. Are we good now? Everybody's back? Okay. Where were we? Yeah, we're having a bad storm here, so my internet is acting crazy.
But
Go ahead. Yeah.
Dad, let's say, did he have a heart attack or did
no,
something
he
happen
was
to him?
he
Go ahead.
my mom put in a nursing home so that his last few years could be peaceful because she had her leg amputated from diabetes. So I wanted at least his last few years to be, you know. And the thing is, no matter how bad my mom treated him, that's why I continued to take care of her after he died, was he would go to the nursing home every day at 5
Really?
o'clock,
Ugh.
every day to see her. Oh, look at the kitty.
I know, right?
So I figured if he could do it after he died, I was like, I will do it. But there's been so many times I was going to leave her in a nursing home because she was so nasty to me. I would leave the nursing home in tears. I said, you guys got her Social Security coming in. Y'all take care of her. But I came back the next day.
Until the day she passed, which was your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go through
Yep.
all the regular pomp and circumstances for her? I mean, as far as funeralizing, no, you did not.
Her funeral was done in a funeral home. Her relatives on her side, the family, you know, was all the bonus brother, which is in the book. So when I say lies, secrets, that was it. My cousin, my first cousin, I thought was my first cousin, was actually my brother. My mom had a son while she was married to my dad by a married man. And when she had, her sister took him and raised him. And I thought he was my cousin, but he was my actual brother.
Yeah.
My grandfather, who I thought was my grandfather, was not my grandfather. He wasn't related to me at all. My mother's uncle, air quote, was my actual grandfather.
So how many books are you writing?
I could keep going with that one. It just, that was just a pot of
ooh, that's
hot mess.
messy. But those are secrets and lies that we keep.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah. So let's talk about Noxious.
Yeah.
Now that's going to be a series, right?
Ooh, do you really want to talk about Noxious?
Yeah, let's talk about Noxious. Come on, give it to me.
Okay, is everybody sitting down?
We are.
Everybody sit down? Okay.
Yeah.
So Noxious, Mark knows about this one. Noxious is about a young lady who takes her chance on internet dating and finds out 3 years into the relationship that she's one of 4 that he's seeing, and one of 2 he was seeing the entire 3 years. This girl.
Yeah. Oh my.
So I took that so it didn't seem like it actually happened and put some spins on it. So this one ends, and I'm not giving it away, but this one ends with the car went off a bridge. The car was on fire with him in it, and the 4 ladies standing at the bridge, at the top of the bridge, looking down. They put the car out and he's gone.
So the 4 ladies met each other.
Oh, the 4 ladies, they were all at his birthday party. That's how they found out that
Mama Tony says, now I know why you kill people. Yes, you know, you've got trauma on your DNA for sure. You know,
so you asked how come how was I able to spin that? I was going to do one more, but then when Shanitha talked to me, she said, why don't you take Harper and just take her on? So Justice, that's in Noxious, is not going to get killed until book 7.
Okay. And so you're going to take each lady and give them their own story.
Mm-mm.
No.
Harper is going to keep going, but the next book, each lady has their own chapter. And
Okay.
when each lady disappears in their chapter, there is a small little toy burning SUV, just like his was when he went over the bridge at the spot where each one disappears.
Ooh.
So when you get to the end of this one, who you think's doing this is not doing it either
At all.
at all. And then one of the books, Harper's getting married, and he comes in. I told Mark about this one. He comes in during the wedding. The woman that finds him shoots him during her wedding. They take him out in an ambulance. There's a wreck. The EMTs go back to check and see if he's okay. He's gone.
So is Noxious out now? It's ready to, not yet. Go ahead.
It was supposed to be this Saturday, but it
Okay.
got botched up editing, so I had to go and get it redone all over again. So it's delayed.
So we're talking maybe September, October time
Oh
frame?
no.
No, August.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
we're talking
Okay.
within 3 weeks at the
Okay.
most, at the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
Because each book that you got coming out is supposed to be book of the month. So we're trying to turn these books so you can get the book every.
Okay.
So like Noxious comes out in July, you get the next one.
So tell us what you like
They're
about.
all right here.
Oh, you got them all right. Okay. Tell us what you love about your publishing
Yeah.
company.
It doesn't feel like a publishing company.
Okay. So it's like a family.
It's family. It's family, because instead of me texting her that I need something done yesterday, I texted her and said, girl, I got some gossip. So we went totally,
Left field, right? Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to
So
have that kind
we
of relationship. Yeah.
gossip yesterday. Mhm.
So tell me about this seminar for men, and why men and not women.
So the men's mental health seminar is because of what I've gone through. I decided to pour into the men because they won't pour into themselves. Women will seek help faster than men. And when I was thinking about it, I did a little research, and it said 63% of African American men will not reach out for help. And that's when I was telling you that some of them are groomed that way, that they're not supposed to show emotion. They're supposed to carry the family on their shoulders. Everything's supposed to fall on them. And they think the signs of weakness if they ask for help. So I know women need it, but I feel like our men, be it African American, any male, it's there for them. And if I can do it every year or 2 times a year, next year is a goal.
And what topics do you kind of cover intentionally?
We are going to have it more like a round table for our panelists to share what their experiences are and what they would, and have it open for them to ask questions. And then we will have the information, because I'm not qualified to say this is what you should do and shouldn't do.
Right.
So I want to have it like a conversation, and then have the actual, documentation from doctors and stuff, pamphlets and stuff that they can have with them, which I think I got like 25 folders made so far.
Did anyone ask you, who do you think you are doing a men's seminar without credentials?
No, I actually wasn't going to do it. But because of the shooting that we had here at UVA, and me talking to some of my friends, they said, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. So, but I still ended up doing it, but because I have fear of failure.
Okay.
And if I do this and 2 people show up, I should be excited about that. But if I do this and 20 people show up, I will really be excited. So right now it looks like 28, 30 people so far. So
Well, what I
yeah.
will tell you
And
is
it went
that,
from,
go ahead.
oh, I was just saying it went from me asking for the cost of tickets for them to, so I could offset it, to it actually all coming, almost 90% of it's out of my pocket.
What I will say, if you stick to it, there is connectivity at the end of the tunnel. I mean, but you have to, yeah. And like
That's why I just saw what Mama
yeah.
said, and that's right.
The people who need to be there will be there. And then the next year it'll be bigger. And then the next year it'll be bigger. It just takes time for them to build confidence in what you're bringing, right? And yeah, just hang in there. It'll take care of itself. So
Well, I actually had to tell people no.
Okay.
I had to tell people no because I don't have enough. I had to extend the time by 30 minutes, and then I had to tell the people that wanted to actually speak and do and participate, I'm like, can you be in the audience and add to it, because I can't. And
I mean,
that
time is money. Time is money in any kind of, right, exactly. You know, I mean, people, when you have to rent a space or whatever, you pay by the hour. Unless you're gifted a space, you know, which is hard to find these days. But so
in
good
this
for
town,
you.
yeah.
And that time
Everybody want money here in sleepy Charlottesville.
Tell us about your life coach. Okay, no. If you are taking care of other people, who takes care of Pam?
Okay. I've said this before, and I made one person in this room tear up, but my 2 accountability people are in here.
Okay.
So when I'm struggling with writing or just need somebody to talk to and vent, they're both in here.
Are they're both here?
They're both here because I've gone through this, I guess, cycle. Now that I'm doing what I'm doing, I have noticed here in the last 2 weeks that those who used to be with me are no longer there. So, and that took a hit, because you've known these people for a while. You grew up with some, you hung out with them, and and it's not a boasting thing, because I don't do that, but they're just not there. So it took me a little bit to embrace those that are there.
Without rhyme or reason, they're not there? Without rhyme or reason. Okay.
Nope. When I reach out and say, hey, let's do this, no, I can't. Well, let's do this, no, I can't. So, and this is coming from what I've had happen to me before. When I ask you 1 or 2 times to do something, I'm not going to feel like I'm going to impose myself on you. I just go do stuff by myself. And I still have fun. And you still find people there to talk to. If you're there
It's
by
hard to
yourself,
lose people and not really know why. You know, your conscience really wants to, like, question mark is always there. But TD Jakes
is. I
says,
mean, I try to
if
reach
people want
out.
to walk, let them walk.
And for me, it's a little hard because of, how you grew up. You try to keep what you had because you thought that was, but you know what? My gray's not showing, but I'm too old for that.
Right.
So I just take my accountability partners and keep them and be blessed and keep going.
And move on. So tell us about your life coach website.
That has been good, but on pause until summer.
Okay.
during Christmas time, it was the busiest one because I took all fees off and opened it up for anybody that wanted to talk because the holidays are the hardest. And we had 26 people come through that just needed to say, this is the hardest month. I don't like this. And they just wanted somebody to talk to. There was one person that came through at least twice a week just to get through the holidays, and I had no charge on it for it. Just so
And
that they have somewhere to go.
did they reach back to you?
Yes,
Good.
they
Yeah.
they have. I have the repeat ones, but I've gotten lucky. In next school year, the what do you call it? The resource or the people where they help children get their
Right.
internships. She said if I wanted to, she would put me on the list for people, like if the kids want to intern social media or whatever, and they would get a school credit and they could run my social medias for me.
Yes, always nice to have a young person in the room, I tell you.
I was like, hey, free, the free word, free. So I'm trying to get
Nice,
two.
nice to have a nice intern in the room who knows what's going on, really. Life coaching is important for many reasons. And do you think that because it's website based, people are more open as
Mhm.
opposed to be okay?
Yep. That's why mine is online only. And I don't have anywhere here to house them. So, but yeah, it's online only. And then they could turn the camera off. They don't have to have the camera on. And then they
Okay.
could just talk.
What do they just talk?
Yep.
Because you're
I
not
send,
licensed to give any kind of
yep.
therapy, right?
But
So
my intake form, I'll send that out when they make an appointment so that they can do or tell me what's going on, so I'm kind of prepared beforehand. And they do get the disclaimer that if they say anything that seem, even like when I'm at school, but if they say anything that sound like life-threatening or whatever, I will end it and call 911. They don't have an option. So if they send me that paperwork, I already have their phone number and everything, and I will call 911 and send somebody to their house.
do you ever run across people who have the same kind of trauma background?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes it not easier, but I can relate to it, and I take it to work. I mean, I got students that are sitting there going through stuff, and I just go, hey, flip that switch and go, have a seat, and just talk to the kids. So it's always there, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to go for this summer. They have a and it sounds really morbid, but they have a death coach
Yeah. Well,
to get you through your grieving stages. So I'm not sure if that, I might add that one to my list.
well, with all the mass shootings, these children need to have, a way to release, even if they're not there. Just the trauma of hearing it on the radio, television, about them going to school and something may happen, or going through. Do you all go through drills? Yeah, that's
We need to go through more training for our non-bonded teachers and I told Mark about this one, but to be able to break up fights. That's the biggest thing, because if you're non-bonded, you can't break up a fight.
What's bonded teacher? What does that do?
Means that they can't file a lawsuit against you for putting your hands on their kid. So you've signed paperwork, you've gone through training, and I think my card expires sometime soon, but you've gone through the training on how to restrain a kid, or what's the proper way. If you need to take a student down, then there's proper ways to take a student down. If they're pointing which I've only had to search for a gun once, but if you had a student with a weapon, how to approach that student without
And Mama Tony, we thought getting under our desk were bad. because of the atomic bomb, right?
Unfortunately, I'm not the one that gets under the desk. I'm the
No,
one.
no, 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 no. That's
No,
all
I'm
we
just
had.
saying.
My
Yeah.
generation, yeah, had to get under desk because it was an atomic bomb or attack or something like
Mhm.
that. Nothing ever to do with guns and our life really being in danger. I mean, I'm sure it probably happened, but it's not as prevalent as it is now. And I want to thank you for not walking away from the children, because a lot of teachers have.
I took a half-year pay cut to go into the school system. I worked at State Farm for 15 years, and I took a half-year pay cut for peace of mind and to do something I would like to do.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I've only had to look for a gun once. One of my students that was that I had, the kid said he had brought a gun into the building. So the vice principal and I walked until we tried to find it, and I had to go ask him where it was at. And when we say the students' eyes have gone black, they're so angry that their eyes are fully dilated.
Yeah, the
And
pupils are black.
yeah, they've gone black. And I had to calm him down to get him back to find out that it wasn't a gun, it was a BB gun, but we didn't know. And it was hiding up over his gym locker or something.
But they look very much,
Mhm.
yeah. Like, I mean, it is a real gun, but not a real gun.
I was shaking. Nobody knew it though. I was like,
Yeah.
looking in trash cans. But
Yeah, exactly.
you know, you can't let them see you sweat. So it's like, hey.
Well, thank you for that, because our children are our future, and some of them feel like they don't have one. So we thank you. Let's talk about your two prestigious awards. One was the Impact Award, and one was a Book Tour Award. How did you feel when you received those?
So the story behind the Impact was I can't think of the name of it, but it was the Texas festival, the book festival that's in Texas. When
The National Black Book Tip?
The National Black Book Festival. There you go. I got so many in my head right now.
Right, I understand.
When we got there, the entire group was not together. Our entire publishing group was not together. We were separated. And at that point, my publisher was getting a little concerned or, you know, a little upset about how we weren't all together to represent. And I said, to calm down, we got this. And she said, well, what are we going to do? And I said, we're going to divide and conquer. We have some over here. So when they see them over there, then they will come over to us. If they don't have what they need over there, they'll send us to us. So we work in both sides of the room.
Right.
And that's what she remembered, that what she thought was going to be a bad day turned out to be a good day. So that's where the Impact came in.
Nice.
The tour one was my first year going out. So I was that person that's trying to get the knowledge of everything. And I went to every doggone one that she had on the book. I was like, I'm going. I was broke as a joke, but I was going.
Right? Yeah.
I went to every one. And my accountability partner, my partner in crime, Dr. Miller, she saw me at my lowest at that event. That's where I met her. And I went there expecting, and that's how I learned everything I learned from last year, prepared me for this year. I went there expecting to sell, because it was a big one, the women's Black
right
in Atlanta. I knew all those people was going to be there. My mindset was I was going to sell 40 books and I was going to do this, that, and the other. I sold nothing. I was crushed. I also planned my trip, wrong thing to do, on selling 40 books. So me not having the money to get an Uber back to the hotel, based on the fact that I knew I was going to sell these books, Dr. Miller got me out of that. She was the one that talked me off the ledge and said, hey, this is going to be okay. So now when I go to these events, if I sell one more book than the last one, then I succeeded.
I always tell my authors, go for knowledge. You can sell books, but the knowledge inside that room you can't buy.
Texas
You
was
cannot pay
my
for.
biggest networking party I ever had.
You
I still
cannot
have
pay
my
for.
book. But
You
yeah, I was
can't
going
pay
to
for
Atlanta. I was going to make some money in Atlanta. I was networking. I ain't have time for that.
it. Do you have a promotion strategy? What does that mean, Mama Tony? We're not sure what that means.
No, I'm winging it right now.
And that's why you didn't sell books.
Well, see, that was right off I was green then,
Okay.
but I'm a little seasoned,
Now,
just little
this is a
seasoned.
seasoned veteran now.
The little season. So
Yeah.
I promote myself prior to an event. So like when I was coming to visit my lovely Daytona family, I was promoting there. I reached out to Miss Donna to see and I missed it by a few days if I could go set up at Books A Million and do that, or various other things. So next year, since I'm gonna be there a whole week before,
Right.
I got the time, because I was like, do I fly in for the weekend and fly back home, then fly back? Then I was like, maybe I'll just stay the week and let my son come back. So I'll probably be there that whole week, because we're going to do the Daytona first. And then I'm going to stay the week and do your event and then go home.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell the authors, listen, I give you promotional material and I do all the promotion I can, but you got to invest in yourself to invest in yourself. I can't do it all, right? I can tell people you're coming. I can give you the material to put out there, but I don't have your network. You have your own network. Yeah, so that's important.
I already got 2024 on the go.
All right. Yeah, we just talked about that. 2/3 of God's name is go. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. So Mama Tony, thank you for taking over that interview, because my internet just, I don't know, it went crazy. It started lightning and thunder, and I said, it's going to go. I knew it was going to go. It's been raining here for 3 days, so it's rainy season.
What the mature people say, if it's lightning, you go sit in a corner.
Right, well, we're right in the
on
middle of an interview.
We could have shut all this down. We all would have shut it down.
No, God took care of it, because it didn't go down, because Mama Tony got the interview, so it all worked out. And it was still recording. So, yeah, that's amazing. So it all worked out. So I want to ask you, is there anything we did not cover that you would like to discuss?
Nope. Anybody got some questions?
Got questions for? It's raining here also. Yeah, it's raining all the time. Yeah, it's that time of the year. So we ask our guests for a pearl of wisdom to share with us at the end of every show. So we'll ask you for that now.
That's it. We've kind of just talked about it, but do not go into writing books thinking that you are going to be rich in 6 months. Write your books to write your books. And don't quit your day job until you got 6 figures in the bank.
Right. Tell your story, but keep your job. Or unless you're retired. That makes a little bit of a difference, right? But yeah, tell your story, but keep your job. I think that every young author believes that they're going to, be on the bestseller list. And what we try to tell them is that there's only a few people that you can name. Michelle Obama, anybody that Oprah picks, of course, will be. But what you can do is know that your book will be in the Library of Congress for 70 years. So when you're not here, it is generational wealth. Your kids will make money. If it's $5, it's their money. Right?
Exactly.
It's their money. And to make sure that you put all that in your will or your trust, so that your children are able to know how to get to it.
You're going to make me update my will.
No, man, you better. Let me just say, you should have your PayPal in there. You should have your Cash App in there. You should have your books in there. The fact that they're in the Library of Congress, and when they went in, please, everybody do that. It's so important, because, that all that money will go to the state. Well, the state of Florida. I don't know about your state, but This state
Virginia
will
take
take it.
everything that ain't nailed down.
They
Mm.
will take it. So make sure if you have a trust, it's in the trust, if it's or in your will, those things are labeled. Your Cash App, whatever your password is for PayPal, all that's money you leave for somebody else. If your children or your children's children don't know how to get to it. So just food for thought. And everybody, guess what? Next Monday, we're off because it's a holiday. And so we are going to take good time for Memorial Day. And Pamela, thank you for being here on Zoom and on a Fresh Conversation. We need to do this again because there's much more to your story that we didn't get to. And we want to come when Noxious, why do I have a so hard time saying that word? It's a hard word to say, comes out. Please come back.
So
we can.
you, for the next 7 books,
Mm-hmm.
all titles will be difficult to say.
Okay, very good.
All titles will be difficult to say. So I thought of the common word for what
Noxious.
the book was about.
Right.
And then I went back and looked for a like word that was different. So all books will have one title. All covers will be in black and white with one shade.
Wow.
And the definition for each word will be in there.
Well, we're here for it. So when you publish it, come back. We're here every Monday night. And so, yeah, right at 8 o'clock. And when the lights go out and the cell phone towers go down, all you have left is a flashlight and a good book. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you, everybody. Have a good holiday weekend. Good night. Thank you, Mama Tony.
Bye.